Hi, everybody. Welcome to Midnight Farmhouse. And anything that would happen in live is going to happen, and we're going to make it work. Now, I can't see any of the chat. Let me see if I can. There we go. I can see the chat. Wow. Doing this on my phone is going to be really something. Anyway, welcome, everybody. I'm so glad you're here. And tonight, we're going to talk about food because you know why? That's my favorite subject. But we're going to talk about how to safely prepare it and keep it stored and not to get the tummy aches because we all know about tummy aches. Let's see who we got in here. We got Lisa from Yogi Hollow Farms in here. I saw who a homestead a while ago. And we got Daz.
Suburban Hillbillies there.
All right. And Cameron Bose. Welcome, everybody.
My table of three.
My table of three. Hi, Carrie. All right. Oh, I can show on screen if I want to. Yeah, thanks for all your patience here. You know, the one time I want to go live, you know. Here, let's see if I can put this down. All right. Well, that's going to work. All right. So, for this live, I was blown away by my video from March Madness about how I showed how to can chicken. I just simply put my cutting board on a cookie sheet, and I got so many comments saying, "You're a genius." It blew my mind that people just
don't think of it.
Don't think that the juices on that chicken are going to spread everywhere, and I would rather have less work after I'm done canning. So that got me to thinking, for me, it's common sense. But I want people to know, I want to educate people on how to run their kitchen so they don't get sick. Yeah. I mean, some people might think they have food allergies because, you know, they're always getting belly aches from certain foods. Well, maybe it's because it's the way they're preparing it.
Indeed.
So
that kitchen tip of using your cookie sheet is also a great one if you're cutting things like watermelon and stuff, just to keep the juices from running across your counter, because you can have something that runs, you wipe everything up, and then a few days later you go to lift up a jar in your counter and it's like stuck there because you don't even realize the juices went there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's a good plan. Good plan.
Yeah.
And put your cutting board, see, now I just thought of this, on a damp paper, a damp kitchen towel, and it'll keep your cutting board from sliding on your counter.
Yes, I've seen that, but I keep forgetting to do that.
I do too. I just know it happens. You can. Doesn't mean I always remember, but I know it.
That's a favorite of mine because for people that don't know, I'm a retired chef. I'm a qualified chef, so I did an apprenticeship and all the training and everything, and it was drummed into us to put a damp cloth or paper towel under the cutting board so they don't slip, for obviously safety reasons. And yeah, I just love it when I hear people such as yourself mention it, because it's, for me, it's so important that people aren't cutting and sliding their boards. And I see it in some videos and I just cringe. I don't want to comment. I don't want to be that person, but I want to comment and say, if you just put a damp cloth under your board next time.
Yeah, well, let me introduce my guests here. I got Linda from Tulu Creates YouTube channel, and we got Daz from My Aussie Garden Kitchen. And I feel that they are the most two qualified people to be here with me to talk about this subject.
Because we just don't want to get sick? Or are we qualified because we just want to not get sick?
You qualify because you give me all this information that I'm like, wow, I didn't even know about that.
Yeah.
Like Linda told me once that pregnant ladies should not eat lunch meat.
Yes.
Actually, most of the time the doctors will tell you that now.
Yeah. So that's why Linda's qualified, just because she gave me that about.
Just because I knew that.
Well, while you're on that topic, soft serve ice cream. No. So yeah, it's it's good to discuss these things because there are people that don't know a lot of these things, and there's so much knowledge to share. So let's share it and help everybody out.
And I think it doesn't get talked about enough at all. Like, I went through YouTube just to search for food safety videos.
Yeah.
There isn't any.
There isn't any.
So that makes me wonder, is the topic that boring, or is it that common sense, or there's just
I don't think people think about it. And I think that, I mean, look, I'm pointing down, as a chef, the laws and regulations, like what they look for when they inspect and things like that, that. But a lot of things people just do in their kitchen and they think it's okay, when really, in fact, you should treat your kitchen as if it's going to be inspected when you're preparing food. Because I never try to do something in my kitchen that I wouldn't expect them to have done in a restaurant. Because you're still preparing food and you're still giving it to other people. And there's rules, like I have my little thing. There's rules of temperature. I'll show you that in a minute. But I made a list of things that people don't think about that you should just do in your everyday kitchen they're not like written anywhere, I don't think, but they're good ones. So I have a list whenever y'all are ready.
Excellent.
And also, with the cutting board and the cookie sheet in that video, I also said, don't wash your chicken. And people were like, what? Why would you not wash your chicken? People don't understand that the water goes everywhere. And if the bacteria is on the chicken, you're going to get it everywhere.
Yep. Yeah, it's as Linda was just saying, I've had people say to me before, when I've been out and about, whatever, oh, it's not a professional kitchen here, don't worry. But you have to, because whether it's a professional kitchen or home in your kitchen, people are still eating it and they're going to have the same reaction to the bacteria or whatever it may be. So it doesn't matter the circumstances of where it's being prepared. Common sense and some simple rules are going to save you and others from getting sick.
That makes me have a question for you. When you said, it's not a professional kitchen and other people can still get sick. So it made me think, when we do things, we build up our own immunities to things that are in our home that other people could come in and be sensitive to. So if we're preparing something in our home that we're just used to eating, we may not be bothered by that, but someone else could still get sick. Am I right? Like they don't have built up the immunities to what we're used to in our kitchen?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah.
I would think. Okay. Well, there's that.
Like how I have raw milk in my kitchen.
Ooh.
True.
Just right there.
That is a thing. Yeah.
Yep.
There's a whole nother topic right there.
Yeah. We'll skip that one for now because
it's a whole nother Leanne topic.
So back to cutting boards. How many cutting boards do you both have in your kitchens?
I don't want to count.
I knew he'd
I knew he'd have the colored ones.
I came prepared.
He's got them all. I don't have colored ones, but I have a bunch of them.
Oh, I have an invisible one.
Ooh, is it green?
Yes.
It must be a green cutting board.
Now I will disappear.
So, Dad,
magic
can you
on the
explain
side.
why you have color-coded cutting boards?
Indeed. Yeah. So as you can see, even on my invisible one back here, they have symbols in the corners and they're all different colors. So each color and each board represents, for example, fish. And what am I looking at there? Beef and poultry. So the number one thing there is cross-contamination. If you stick to a cutting board for each meat, or there's ones here for fruit, bread. There you go. There's your fruit there. So as long as you stick to your specific board for your specific food, you're not going to get any of the cross-contamination happening. And for me, it's common sense. I mean, it was drummed into me as a professional and everything, and you just don't lose that. But I've got 6 kids, and it's a great opportunity for me to use these boards.
Mm-hmm.
Look, the quality is not the best. I'd rather have a better quality chopping board, to be honest. But these are teaching my kids from a very early age to separate ingredients and not cross-contaminate. And it works really well. I'll go out there and I'll either hear which board do I use, or I will see them with the specific board with the matching picture. And it might be hard for kids to remember all the colors, but you've got those pictures in the corner, which are fantastic. And yeah, so that's my spiel on these boards. And yeah, I'm all for them.
So here's a topic that maybe regular people wouldn't know about. There's a debate: wood, plastic, or glass.
Yes.
What do you prefer to cut on?
I don't like glass because it
I don't like glass.
it dulls knives. Wood's a hard one for me because I was pretty much trained and used a lot of wood in my training and everything, and you have the issues with cracks and things getting into the cracks and stuff like that. So I stopped using them at home many years ago. Maybe a wood block for preparing meat only. No doing anything else on it. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So sorry, I'll go on forever. So basically, wood is, for me, if I had a wood block for preparing meat with a chopper and stuff like that, not for anything else. And plastic, because I can get the plastic and sanitize it properly and give those scratches. Unfortunately, these ones here, they are going to scratch and wear, but I can get in and give them a good scrub and sanitize them and put them through the right temperatures. I run them through the dishwasher as well to get the high heat happening. So I guess after all that, I prefer plastic because of the way I can sanitize them.
So I have a question for the chat. Is there a difference between clean and sanitary? That was the first thing I learned when I walked into McDonald's to work. If there is a difference.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how long we have to wait.
I can see the responses.
They're saying yes, of course there is. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there is.
A surface can be free of particles, which would make it clean, but sanitized means it's free of bacteria and viruses and all that. So that's something, after, this decade came into being, people are more aware of and more of washing hands. That gets to my next topic. When do you wash your hands?
All the time. Oh, are you asking them?
No, I'm asking you. In a restaurant, there is like 10 different reasons why you would have to wash your hands.
There's rules, but
like the hands on the 12, the hands on the 3. But if you touch your face, you touch your hair, you cough, you eat, you smoke, you drink, you touch a broom, you take out the trash, you're always touching something. And that's why when they made it a state law to wear gloves on the line, it just freaks me out. Because
so the thing I have about wearing gloves is people put gloves on and they touch everything that they would touch with their bare hands, but they don't go wash their gloves. They're supposed to change them more frequently, but I don't think that they do, because I don't know. It's just, I just don't feel like it. But like in my kitchen, I wash them as soon as I go in there, and I wash them like after I take chicken out and unwrap it, I'll wash them, and then I'll cut the chicken, and then I wash them, and then I do something else. And another thing I do is oftentimes I'll keep like half of the sink or whatever with hot water, and I have a great big sink now, so I have like one of those, the little hospital pans that you get. I have one of those, and it always has hot water with its own wash rag and a couple of drops of bleach, just maybe a spoon of bleach. And every once in a while, I'll just take that and I'll wash my working area if I'm doing a big process. And I should probably show that in my videos because I do it frequently. Yeah, because I always have all of that's a safety thing too. That was one of my things, to prepare all of your ingredients. Like if you're going to make a casserole, measure it out, have it prepared, and have your counter clean before you put everything together. And it helps you kind of compartmentalize all those procedures, keeping them cleaner. So you don't have like your chicken here and your lettuce here, because you just could stand to cross contaminate that. That's just a thing I do. But I always wipe, and I probably should show that in my videos so that people know that I do that.
Yeah,
So
I posted my canning green bean video yesterday, and one of my subscribers is like, "Hey, you should have showed for newbies how to wash the sink before you start washing your green beans." I'm like, I should have, but I just didn't think.
you know, we should do that. Let's make a pact. We're going to show prepping for doing it before we do it.
Yes, it's so true.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
I've done it in a few of my canning videos, but I'm like, I should realize that not every person's going to watch every video that I put out there. I need to assume that.
So important.
True.
Yeah. Just on the gloves thing, something that really annoys me is, say I won't even mention, I was going to mention a chain just by habit, but you go to a sandwich shop and they're accepting money from people before you and then making your sandwich. Oh, it drives me nuts.
But they have gloves on.
But that, see,
they're touching the same things. They're just using the gloves.
Yep. So for any of you that see it, speak up and mention that it's pointless having gloves if you're going to be handling money and then handling your food straight after it. And
what gets me is they take the at a fast food place, you know, the cups. If they have to get the drink for you, they would take the soda cup and scoop it into the ice bin. Oh, that just drives me nuts. First off, you don't know where their hands have been on the ice when they're scooping it. And then I always will say that there's wax on that cup. And you don't know if that cup's sanitized, and you're just putting it into something that somebody's going to go in somebody's mouth.
Yeah. I see Suburban Hillbilly made a point. I watched a canning video where a lady dropped rings on the floor, picked them up, wipes it on her apron, and put it on the jar. I don't watch her anymore. Good for you.
Wow.
And people don't think, well, it's a jar. It's just a canning lid. It's not going in the food, but the germs don't just stay where they're at. And they're on her hand now. And I bet she didn't wash her hand after she picked that stuff up off the floor.
And just so, if anybody doesn't know, there's no such thing as a 5-second rule.
No. There's you're eating something off the floor rule.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And think about what is on the bottom of your shoes. I wouldn't take a candy bar and stick it to the bottom of my shoe and then eat it. Your shoe is all over the ground. Same thing, kind of thing. Anyway, so there's that.
So I went to the NSF organization, which is the National Service. I forget but anyway, it's for restaurant people, and they have the top 10 tips for practicing stay-at-home food safety.
Okay.
And the first one is avoid overpacking your refrigerator.
Nice.
Oh, that's so hard at the holiday time. Oh my God.
Or canning season. Are you crazy?
I know it.
This is the time of year where I wish I had 2 or 3, but I have 1.
Yep.
And a French door refrigerator at that. But anyway, when you overpack your refrigerator, your air circulation in the refrigerator is not going to flow properly. So you're not going to be able to keep your refrigerator below 40 degrees.
Yep.
And that's something else that doesn't get talked about. The danger zone.
Dun, 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 dun. Here we go. See, I'm being an Australian, we're all about Celsius over here. So for anyone that's running on Celsius, we're talking keep it under 5 degrees Celsius and over 60 Celsius. And I'll let you ladies talk about the Fahrenheit so I don't get it wrong. Because I'm bad at the conversion.
So for Fahrenheit, it's between 40 and 140 is where bacteria will grow. So any temperature that's outside the refrigerator up to, then you have to keep it at 140 or higher. And food should not sit out for more than 4 hours total.
Yep.
If it's raw or cooked, right? Or is it just raw?
You should put, actually, they say that if you should put food in the refrigerator within an hour of like cooking it, and also from like getting it home from the store, from taking it from where it was refrigerated at the store, it should be quick, because I don't know,
Yeah.
4 hours I think covers your potlucks and stuff. But I'm one of those people, when I was working, that we'd have a potluck and I'm like, you guys ate lunch, because that stuff's all going in the fridge. And I make a little list on the whiteboard of what's in the fridge so they don't have to keep opening it and looking and digging through stuff. They're like, oh yeah, I want those. So I was bad. I used to make them crazy because they'd come and say, where'd the potluck go? Well, it's now safe. You can continue to eat. I don't know. It's just me.
That's
Yeah,
why
with me,
that's why I've actually bought bowls that have ice packs in the bottom
Mhm.
for when I go to picnics.
Yep.
Like how restaurant people have them. All right. Next tip was be strategic in how you load your refrigerator. You should have a designated area for your meat to thaw out. This prevents the juices from going everywhere other than the container you put the meat in. I have a 9x13 dish pan in the bottom of my refrigerator. That way it doesn't go anywhere. And you should never have your prepared foods below your raw meat in the refrigerator.
absolutely. Yep, absolutely spot on.
What's Linda thinking about?
I'm looking at pot unluck. I know that my coworkers didn't wash their hands after using the bathroom at work. I definitely don't trust them to wash them when cooking food. That's yeah, that's true. Nope, it's always scary.
Yeah.
Actually, I was talking to someone yesterday. I was at a meeting and we were talking about the cottage rules and things like that if you're going to prepare food at home to sell to the public. And you can watch things like farmers markets. The friend told me that they had gone to the farmers market and they were selling deviled eggs on a table in the sun. And she was
Oh
like, you can't do
wow.
that. And I've actually been to a farmer's market and they sign the cottage rules, but it doesn't mean that it's inspected after they've signed the agreement or that they know. And a couple of years ago, I went and there was bacon jam that they had made in a boil water canner was sitting there. And I was like, wait a minute, because I can't have that. So I let them know and they went up and said, you can't sell that. It's not an approved recipe. And they were even had done it in a boil water canner. So just because you go to a farmer's market, keep your wits about you, because you got to watch.
Yep, it's so true.
Mhm.
And it also says not to store previously cooked meat or plant-based meat next to the raw meat.
Oh, yeah.
That's going along the same lines.
A cool thing too is, you know how they have all those, they're like clear bins. You watch TikTok and everyone's organizing their fridge and they've got all those clear bins. It's not a bad idea to have a set of those clear bins that you specifically put thawing food in. Or if you're going to have meat, you can put it in that. And then that way you could put like your vegetables or something in another one so that you know they're even more separated. So that's kind of a handy thing.
And allow leftovers to cool before storing them.
Oh, absolutely.
Hmm.
Yeah, going, say, I don't know, cooking a hot meal in a pot or something and then just putting it straight into the fridge. Oh boy. Yeah, there's just
But
yeah,
don't
no.
let it sit out more than 2 hours, of course. And
You know that oh, sorry, go ahead.
when I worked at Wendy's, we had big pots of chili at the end of the night to put away. We would have this big gallon jug of ice that we would have to sit in the container before we put in the refrigerator.
Yep.
Go ahead,
And you
Linda.
can make those things like when you're doing stew or chili or whatever, and you want to put it in the fridge. You can take, like a water bottle and fill it 2/3 with water and freeze it. And then you can use it like, the restaurant ones are way big, but it's frozen and you can use that to help stir it down and kind of cool it from inside as well.
Yeah.
And I remember years ago, like, oh my gosh, I was 20, like 40 years ago. And I was a Tupperware lady. And they used to have a phrase that said, from hot to cold invites mold. So they didn't want you to take it out, put it in a Tupperware thing, and put it in the fridge because that's not good.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think, well, I'm just going to put this casserole in there. But they've done, I can't remember, it was some study or article that I read where they took just a pot of like chicken soup, that pot straight from the stove into the refrigerator, and how warm everything got around it. But also it was hours and hours later before that soup actually thoroughly cooled. So it would be the equivalent of setting in a cool kitchen on a counter for maybe 6 or 7 hours. So it's really important to get that cold before you put it in the fridge.
Yeah.
Come and eat at our house, you guys. You know you're going to be safe.
When I worked professionally, we had blast freezers, and they were fantastic because we would just wheel in big tubs of sauces, or maybe a bolognese or something, or just trays of cooked whole pieces of meat. And yeah, we just get them into the blast freezer, and bang, that thing would just get them down to a cold temperature so fast. And yeah, so great to have something like that at home. But yeah, can't see the cost.
Yeah, that would
coming
be
in there.
nice.
Yeah.
So our next tip is to reheat the safe way of leftovers to make sure they reach a temperature of 165.
Look at that. They don't have
Beautiful.
this website in. This used to be called isitdoneyet.gov. I tried to look that up. It's not there, but you can look up one of these. You can get these at Amazon. I have this on the side of my fridge, and I have for probably, I got this in 2005. So it has the temperature, leftovers, yeah, the 165. But this has all your cooking temperatures. And I would tell you that when you're making something like an egg dish, that's not just out of the oven. If you're like cooking something in the microwave, you should also check your temperature, because you can get hot spots in a microwave. So you should always want to keep your temperature. Get one of these kind of things and see that? Ooh, it's pretty cool, huh?
Hey,
Yep.
Jesse, if you're in the chat, go look that up.
Yeah, it's not that website. It is done. Isitdoneyet.gov doesn't exist anymore, but you can get those temperature magnets. That's the only reason I brought that, was to remember to tell you.
Yes, you can definitely. Oh, sorry, I think I might have just spoken over you. Sorry.
You didn't.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, yeah, websites like Etsy, if you don't like Amazon, for instance, you can go to Etsy, and Etsy will have people have made magnets and charts with like, I know I've looked at them here in Celsius, obviously, for this part of the world, but I know there are ones in Fahrenheit as well, and I think they're great. It's just something simple to pop on the fridge, and yeah, you can't go wrong as long as the right information's on there, of course.
So Cheyenne, Wyoming urban gardener says, well, there goes eating cold fried chicken for breakfast. You know, I think that that's kind of like cold pizza. That's just going to happen. But I think that if you're reheating it, the eating temperature as a reheated food has to be 165. I've never heard that you can't eat it when it's already, because that would be at the safety temperature out of the fridge, right? Yeah, so eat your fried chicken, honey. I'm gonna eat my pizza. We're all good.
I was going to say, cold pizza. It's happening here.
Yeah, it is.
So Jesse found that link for us. Thanks, Jesse.
Oh, good. Does it work though?
I can't try it because I'm on my phone.
Okay, if it doesn't work, you can find it.
I'm just loading it now on my other computer. Yeah, it works, guys. Thank you so much, Jesse.
Oh, good. You can get one of these. Handy.
So the next tip is to know when your leftovers need to be tossed. I've actually gotten the habit of having a roll of masking tape beside my fridge in a drawer and a Sharpie. So I don't have to play Russian roulette of how many days it's been in my refrigerator, because with me being a busy person, I can't remember from day to day how long something's been in my refrigerator. So I'll just put a piece of masking tape on my container.
When they get fuzzy.
Oh, well, yeah.
When they get... So, yeah, I've actually done that, where you pull something out and go, when did I make this? Like, I don't even remember making it. It certainly can't be good to eat at this point. We've all been guilty of that.
Yep.
Yeah. When in doubt, throw it out. That's fact.
Yeah, there was unfortunately a young man passed away a couple of years ago. A college guy in the USA, and it made the news over here. Um, he had eaten. Oh, don't quote me, but it was something like he had eaten leftover spaghetti that had been sitting on the bench for about 4 or 5 days. It was just ridiculous. Yeah, and unfortunately, it did what you would expect. The worst possible outcome.
Mm.
And
Yeah, people
yeah,
don't think
it's
they can die from food poisoning, but you can.
yeah. It's so important that people realize that it can be so serious, and the education needs to be out there because um, a lot of people they're not taught growing up. I don't know about in the USA, but we do have cooking classes and things like that here in schools, and we are taught basic food safety and things like that in schools here. But it doesn't stick with everyone, obviously, and yeah, things like that can be so scary because you're young and brave, and whatever, but it can have terrible consequences.
Well, a lot of people think they just got a 24-hour bug. The majority of the time you just have an upset stomach. Your body doesn't just have an upset stomach. There has to be a reason. And there's not anything that flies around virus-wise or that way that is 24 hours. So generally, when you have a 24-hour bug, it generally is some sort of food issue.
Mm,
That's a true story.
yeah. Some foods are tricky too. Sorry, Leanne, you're probably moving on then. I just wanted to mention
Leanne.
rice. Rice is
Oh, yeah.
notorious. Yeah, people think rice is you don't think much of it, but leftover rice, wow, I think maybe possibly because of all the starches that are in it. It's really you have to be so careful, and you have to reheat rice properly, and just watch out how many days you store it for, because just plain old steamed, boiled, however you prepare it, leftover rice is a real doozy, and it's one to watch out for.
Mm-hmm. Rice is. I actually lived in Japan, and they're pretty particular about what they do with the leftover rice, and they usually have a rice cooker that's on all day long with rice in it, and they just snack out of it, and it's
Yep.
good.
Yep.
So
All right. Thawing. All right. I didn't get to prepare as much as I wanted to because my husband's like, "Can you give me a lift to another field?" I'm like, "Sure." Then I had all these problems. So, how to thaw out food properly?
Ooh.
I have something actually on my list about that. And about I know we're going to talk about leaving it in your kitchen sink versus in the refrigerator. There's 3 ways, like in the microwave, warm water, or refrigerator. But do you ever think, like here where I live, we go hunting, we go fishing. My son brings me like 20-pound salmon, and they just put them and they vacuum seal them and freeze them. Or they go hunting and they vacuum seal that food. Okay, that's all fine. Or you go to the store and you buy a big piece of meat and you cut it up and you vacuum seal it. When you thaw something out that has been vacuum sealed, you should cut the vacuum seal open and get air in there, because as that warms up, however it does, or as that meat thaws out, it is inside of an anaerobic environment. So think about what grows in an anaerobic environment: botulism. So you can potentially create an anaerobic situation that could be very dangerous. So you just make a practice of always cutting, and it can be something it can be a prepared, like at the factory kind of thing, but bacon, open your vacuum seal things, just open them up, get air in them, move them into maybe a Ziploc bag or something, but don't
Yep.
just leave something in a vacuum seal bag until it's thawed out. Right? Am I right?
Yeah.
I'm going to mark
Yep.
it off my list.
Yeah.
That was on my list. People don't think about that.
I'm keen to
So,
talk about. Oh, sorry, I was just going to say I'm keen to talk about that defrosting in water in the sink.
I don't like it.
so
Mm.
this was a controversy thing in my household between me and my husband. What temperature is the water when you're thawing something out?
Cold.
Yeah, he thinks that hot water is going to thaw it out faster.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No.
So the fastest way for me to thaw out a pack of hamburger, like 1 pound bag, is to put it in a bowl and have running cold water in that bowl. It will thaw out in like minutes, maybe 10, 15 minutes. That's what we used to do with packages of soup at McDonald's when we sold soup. Just keep running cold water over in your container. It will do the trick in no time. And I hardly ever use my microwave to thaw anything else. That's what Instant Pots are for now.
Yeah, it's a tricky one because it was really drummed into me back when I was an apprentice that you have to keep that water cold because the water, you need to remember, is still a higher temperature than a frozen product. So that cold water is going to break down the ice particles in between and eventually start to throw out that product. But unfortunately, a lot of people think, I need to put hot water or say hot water because that's going to melt ice. But cold water will do it because it's clearly not solid because it's a warmer temperature than the frozen product itself.
I think the only time I've ever actually used it, and I've probably done it more than once, is like a turkey for Thanksgiving. Because in the fridge, a big turkey can take forever to
Okay.
thaw.
5 days.
So I've done the turkey in the sink, with cold water. But that's probably the only thing that I do.
Yeah, I guess we don't do it here at all in this house,
Mhm.
but I guess that's just me personally. It's something that we try to manage here. I'm very conscious of the kids watching what we do and copying.
Mhm.
So yeah, I try to like the colored boards and things like that. And luckily for me, I have to say I've got the most organized, lovely wife in the world, and she actually has menus for about 5 weeks, and we plan out in advance what we're having for dinner. So it's quite easy for us to have, if we have to use frozen chicken or beef, for instance, or lamb. Lamb is big here in Australia. Um, we know that it's coming up. So I think, for instance, on the weekend, we've got it'll be a leg of lamb for Sunday night dinner. So the
Mhm.
leg of lamb is in the fridge now, and that's got a couple of days to defrost rather than
Yeah.
putting it in the sink or the microwave, etc. So just planning.
Planning.
Yeah, generally good planning gets you out of so much trouble.
So if I thaw out a piece of hamburger, I make sure I use that within 5 days, or any kind of beef, and not anything. And if it starts, it will go bad before it starts to smell, right? Like a piece of raw meat.
Sorry, it'll go bad before it starts to smell.
Yeah,
Is that
or
what-
my
Yeah, of course.
so or my not. Is 5 days too long to keep it in the refrigerator?
I think you should go 3.
That's why. That's why she was
Yeah,
quiet. I was like, oh no, I said something wrong.
Well, no, and I
no,
think that hamburger's a weird thing too because, like making jerky, we have one recipe in our food preserver group thing that for doing jerky with ground beef, because ground beef is all the meat is ground into each other. So anything like if you have a steak, you cook it on either side, you're good. With a hamburger, that's why you can have a rare steak, but you can't have like rare hamburger because the
yeah.
steak, when the outside's cooked, it's done. Inside has not been exposed. But when you have hamburger and it's all ground together, everything from the outside is now worked into the inside. That's
Mm.
why hamburger, they say, needs to be cooked all the way through.
Oh,
That is, oh man, that is fantastic. I'd love to stop and rewind and play that again because that is such awesome advice. It's
It's a true
something
story.
that, yeah, it's I don't think raw. I don't want to say raw. Rare cooked burgers, for instance, are not really a thing in this part of the world. But
Yeah.
from what I've seen, I believe over there, it looks like people do like their burgers to be a little underdone.
Mhm.
And yeah, for us, it's a no because of exactly what you said. And yeah, that was awesome.
Oh, good. Thank you. Yeah. I have a friend that would eat nearly raw steak and like the most well done hamburger ever for that reason.
Yep. Yeah.
Uh-oh, we lost Leanne. Oh
Uh-oh.
no. I hope she comes back.
Okay, well, do you want to do the singing or the dancing? I'll do the other one
I don't
badly.
know. We can do the yeah, see, Suburban Hillbilly says the bacteria gets spread throughout when it's ground. It literally grinds the bacteria into the center of
Yeah.
the beef. So
Yeah.
that's and here's the thing I'll just say, we'll go back to, separating your things in your refrigerator. Has anybody ever thought about separating the stuff in your grocery cart?
Yeah.
Because, you got to keep it separate in your grocery cart too, because you never
Absolutely.
know. And, that's just a thing. I'm going to message Leanne and see if she's on her way back.
Yep,
See
I'm
what
just
happens.
checking also.
Oh,
Oh, there you go,
there
Leanne's back
she's.
because we're
I'm
being
by
moved
myself
around.
now. Don't do that. That happened on Lisa. Lisa's live. I was by myself. Oh my gosh.
I was just
There you
poor
are.
Leanne.
There she is.
There we go.
Why do I have?
I got bad reverb.
Yeah, it's okay, Leanne. We're still here. We'll be. Yep,
Anything and
fine.
everything will go wrong, right?
That's being live. It's fun.
So
Where's the
Amy,
chat? There we go. There we go.
Amy says we eat leftover rice all the time, no problems, but we eat white rice with no butter or anything added to it. It's not about eating leftover rice, it's how the leftover rice is properly prepared. Because like
Yes.
most of the time, like fried rice is generally pre-cooked rice. And that one
Yep.
of the reasons it makes it such good fried rice is because it's got that dried starch on the outside that browns up so nice. So the leftover rice is fine, but it's eating kind of like room temperature leftover rice. It's bad for
Yep.
you. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And just Joy Louise also mentioned in chat. I just wanted to acknowledge your comment because you took the time to make it. What about steak tartare? Yeah.
Oh,
Look,
yeah.
yeah, steak tartare is perfectly fine if it's prepared properly in a proper way. As look, of course, you could have people that don't prepare things properly and stuff like that, and for instance, it's got raw egg mixed into it. Like you're not supposed to eat raw cookie dough, with the egg in it, but you can eat steak tartare with egg mixed through it, and yeah, look, steak tartare, if prepared properly in a proper establishment or someone that is doing the right thing in the kitchen is perfectly fine.
hmm It's just like
Okay,
sushi. I mean, you're not going to make sushi at home without, the risk there of sushi, but in a place where they properly prepare it, whole different deal. Okay, I'm marking my shopping cart thing off my list. And I got one. Cleaning your lids on any canned goods, even your soda pop. Those things sit in warehouses where they spray with bug spray. They do all this stuff. And so I cringe when I see people just buy a soda at the store, crack it open and start drinking it, especially because it's got that little rim around the soda where the stuff can settle. Or, opening a can of soup with just wipe the end of it. That's one of the reasons why I keep that little thing of hot bleachy water. I will wipe my cans and jars before I open every one of them. So
Indeed.
there's that tip. I'm going to mark it off my list.
Winging a Prayer in chat asked, what about chicken and yellow rice leftovers? As with all foods, it's all about the reheating properly.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter what the food is. Yeah, unfortunately, when I mentioned the rice, I probably should have explained myself better that it's the reheating process that you've got to be careful of. It's all about those food safety temperatures and yeah, just a proper reheating process. Really reheat properly is key to just about everything.
Maybe. Well, anyway, put them in the fridge.
So
Would you please?
going back to my list, we already talked about clean and just sanitary. Engaging the whole family into cleaning high touch surfaces. So if everybody's in the kitchen, get them involved in wiping stuff down. And you should clean your counters before you even start.
And anytime you clean that, you should also wipe the handle of your refrigerator and your stove. Wipe your handles. People don't wipe their microwave handles.
Yes.
That's where everybody comes in. They're like going to heat up that coffee after they've been outside, you know, whatever. And you got to wipe your handles.
Yep. Indeed.
My husband just walked down the hall and went, Psh, not doing that. Yes, you are. He's like, I never wipe a handle. That's why I'm here. I come behind him. I wipe the handles. He's like, we all have one of those.
I wanted to talk about Fat Tom, but I think maybe we'll save that for another time. The acronym of Fat Tom, I taught Daz that. He's like, I didn't know that. They don't teach him that in Australia. The acronym for Fat Tom. I learned it
never
in
heard of Fat Tom. I know a Fat Tom, but I've never heard of Fat Tom.
I learned it in Safe Serve class.
What does it stand for?
It stands for food that are high in fats and protein, that like chicken and stuff. I thought it was fat. But anyway, then A is acid. Like the difference between low acid foods and high acid foods. The low acid foods are more susceptible to bacteria growth.
Yeah.
And then maybe I should have looked at this better.
That's
but
all right.
I learned time and temp. Yeah.
Oh, there's a link. Yogi Hollow Farm put up a link.
Yeah, Lisa just dropped a link.
Okay.
There you go.
But yeah, Fat Tom stands for like time and temperature, acidity, oxygen, and moisture. The things that are needed for bacteria to grow.
Oh, okay. It's an acronym for what you need to have a bad situation. You don't want Fat Tom in your kitchen, apparently. Is this what you're saying?
Yes, in many ways than one.
I got it.
Lisa's saying the screen is frozen.
Not mine.
It's okay on my replay. My other screen. Yep.
I saw Daz be a little frozen earlier, but you know,
it's winter here. It's winter here. Come on.
Well, it's like 90-degree weather in the United States right now. So I hope everybody. Oh, it was 90 today here.
I know. I'm at 66, I think, is our high today. Huh? Okay. Yeah, put it in the fridge.
Yeah, I think in Fahrenheit, I'm in the mid 40s to high 40s today.
Gotcha.
Oh, excuse me.
Daz and his phone.
Sorry, it always happens when Leanne is on the screen with me. I tell you what.
And I go like this. But anyway, Linda, what else do you have on your notepad there?
I have two more things, and I know you and I have talked about these before, Leanne, is the apron wearing. Like, aprons are not just, people say, oh, I'm not going to get anything on my clothes. But wearing an apron is not to protect your clothes from food. It's protective food from the stuff that's on your clothes. So, and like I have aprons that I wear outside. Like I'll go outside and put an apron on when I'm going out to do something. I'll come in and put that apron, away. I'll put it in the dirty clothes and put a clean apron on to go work in my kitchen. Like I am an apron fanatic. But aprons are a great thing. Like if you pick food up and you're carrying, like, whatever, it keeps what's on your clothes, because your clothes go everywhere you're doing. Your clothes go to the bathroom with you. Okay.
Mhm.
So you
Yep.
don't want those right there next to your counter. So if you put an apron on, that's a good thing. So there's that. And the other thing is washing fruits and veggies. People will wash their carrots and their potatoes and their green bean or, their peppers, whatever. But you don't see people wash their watermelons very often or their cantaloupes very often because you need to wash those. If wash your bananas, because when you break that seal or you slice through the watermelon, you're actually going to drag the bacteria on your knife down through the center of your watermelon. So you should wash anything that you're going to cut. So those are my two things that are left on my Yep, those are the two things that are left on my list. I'm a big apron girl and I wash everything before I cut it.
Well, speaking of aprons and clothes, well, there's a bit of feedback there. Speaking of clothes and stuff, chefs, it's really a no-no over here, especially for chefs to wear their uniforms to work. A lot of us, when I was working as a chef, sometimes we'd be provided uniforms, and a laundry service would come, and we'd put our uniforms and everything into a big locker at the end of our shift, and each week a laundry service would come and wash them and bring them back fresh. And some chefs found it easier to take the washing home, so when they had like an early morning shift at 4 a.m. or something like that, they could just get straight into the chef's clothes and then go to work and save a bit of time. And I can tell you what, if you got caught doing that and if you were seen walking in, no, because as you said earlier, with your shoes and stuff like that, and being out in the environment, you're bringing in whatever to the kitchen. The most famous one was, we had a guy turn up to afternoon shift in his uniform, and his hands were black with grease and everything from working with his car. And that's one that's always stuck with me. It's, what are you bringing into the kitchen? It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. So Andrea is asking, how long can the prepared rice be out, like when I'm dehydrating it? That is a different thing than just leaving it out on your counter, because it's actively losing its moisture and it's actively becoming dehydrated. So if you were to just leave it out on your counter, it still has all that moisture in there and all the things saying, ooh, I love a good bacteria to hang out with me. Whereas if it's in the dehydrator, the air is blowing across it and it's actively losing its moisture. So there's no rule if it's in the dehydrator. You just keep going until it's dehydrated.
With
Same thing with pasta.
With dehydrating, if you're going to use oxygen absorbers, make sure that your dehydrated food has less than 10% moisture. It's so important. I really can't stress that enough.
That's a huge thing. People think you can't get. Oh, I'm sorry, I spoke over you. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Please go ahead.
I get real passionate about dehydrating, but people think that if it's dehydrated, you can vacuum seal and it's good forever. But if there is even the littlest bit of moisture, here again, you've got moisture in an anaerobic environment, and that's a bad thing. So you can take a piece of fruit, or most of the time vegetables will be hard, like a poker chip when you drop them. Things like peppers and stuff will be a little bendy, but if you put that fruit in there and squeeze really, really hard, you should not get like any little tiny droplets of moisture on there. So that's a good way to check. But what are my favorite aprons? Whatever. Any apron. I actually just got some of those ones, like, I love these. These were my grandma's kind. The kind that you wear over them like a shirt. They snap down the front. I love them. I just got 3 more of those. Love them.
I need to find a pattern. Do you have a pattern?
No, I wanted a pattern for those, and I ended up buying them so that I could take one apart to make a pattern.
Oh,
I'll send you it.
Okay, thank you.
Leanne, if you wouldn't mind, when you get a chance, to acknowledge Kelly S. The comment just a bit earlier. That's a good one.
I saw it. Yes. But I thought this was just as good.
Yes. Yeah, sorry. I didn't mean, I'm trying to
You're
run
fine.
the show. Sorry.
Where's Kelly's comment?
Right here.
Oh.
Because when I worked, you're only one playing band.
Mm-hmm.
Or kneading bread. Yes.
Are you talking about Kelly S? Can we mention the thing that bugs me? People that don't take their
Yes.
rings off when working with raw meat. That is gross.
Yeah.
I will put gloves on. I just don't like to put my hands on raw meat. So if I'm taking chicken apart or cutting chicken, I always put gloves on. Anyway, but yeah, that's the thing. Another thing that bugs me is and no offense, because I've actually had these before, but I'm very particular about my hand cleanliness. And I don't like it when I go in a restaurant and a waitress has really long acrylic nails.
Mm-hmm.
That's a thing that bugs me because I don't think they get as clean as they should. Just that's my personal thing. So ew, that's a bug.
Yep.
That's a bug Linda thing.
I do have a question. It relates to something Linda mentioned earlier, that just in regards to supermarkets. I do know a lot of people probably don't know me with my channel, but I actually worked with a major supermarket here for over a decade, running the store at night or running the night crew. And I know for a fact that the people in the checkouts are trained to keep the food separate. For instance, they wouldn't put raw chicken in with, say, tomatoes and things like that. And I'm just wondering, is anyone in chat or yourselves here on the panel, are you aware if that sort of training is done? Is that awareness made in the training in the US supermarkets?
I would think at one time when they had official baggers, it probably was, but I don't think that, in my opinion, we have a lot of self checkout, so they don't have
Oh,
that.
okay.
And most of our grocery stores have self checkout now, but I
Okay.
would suggest no, because there's been so many times that I go and I have to repack my groceries.
Yep. Okay.
What do you think, Leanne? You think that they teach them that?
Probably not. They probably can't even find people nowadays.
Probably true. There's no baggers anymore.
Okay, yeah, we do have the self-serve checkouts now where you go and scan things, but in all the supermarkets here, by far the majority of the registers, the checkouts, are manned checkouts where they bag for you as they scan your stuff. Except for Aldi, we have Aldi here as well, and with Aldi, you pack your own stuff at Aldi over here.
Well, and another thing too is that nowadays, most of the time, we have to bring our own bags. So we just kind of, people just kind of they slide it to the end, and people just start putting this stuff in their own bags. So I don't think it's as formalized anymore as it once was.
Okay. Yep. So yeah, we can take our own bags, which is encouraged. But in a lot of supermarkets here, they'll have it's like a spinning wire rack, and you can put your bag and pull the handles over, and they'll drop it into the appropriate bags for you.
Yeah, they have that at Walmart. They just fill the bag and spin it to the next one and fill the bag. So I don't know.
Okay.
When I put my groceries on that belt, I try to make sure I group my groceries for how I want them bagged, so they don't even have to think.
There you go.
I'm not anymore, but I was not allowed to go to the supermarket with my wife because that situation there, Leanne, it'd be her versus me. No, this goes with that and that goes with this. And you know what? I'll just go stand at the end and wait for the trolley and push it to the car.
That's smart. The boss is always right.
Yep.
So I think our hour is up here, unfortunately, and I hope everybody's come to visit us today, has learned something, made this worthwhile for us, because I think this topic needs to be addressed again sometime in the future. And it's just not talked enough, because there's all this talk about botulism, but how much talk is there about E. coli and salmonella and listeria and all the other belly aching, flu? We didn't even talk about flu symptoms, because all of it is flu-like symptoms. when you are contaminated with it.
Yeah,
And the
it's
difference between an outbreak and an illness, like how many people have to be part of it. Now the light bulb comes on. But anyway, I do want to keep this to an hour. And Peacemaker just became a friend of Daz's channel.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much. And can I just say, selfishly, take a moment for myself? I just want to thank Linda for being here with us. I've not been on a panel with Linda before, so
I haven't
I've
either.
enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
This was
and
good.
obviously,
This was good times.
yeah, and obviously, thank you, Leanne, for inviting me. I mean, I wouldn't have happened without Leanne. So, yeah, thank you.
I just thought, you know, these two people definitely would hold my hand, know their stuff about food handling just as much as I do, if not more. But
well, I appreciate you making it a focus, because I think that on our channels and on YouTube, people go to look at how to do something. They go to look to get an answer for a quick problem, but they don't think necessarily, most people don't think, you know what? I wonder how you should clean your counter before you do that. Like, people don't think about that. So you bringing this up is kind of opening the door to getting more good information to keep people healthy out there via YouTube, which can sometimes take you in the wrong way. So we want to keep all of our subscribers safe and healthy, right?
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. Yeah.
I've only seen one YouTuber take a temperature of chicken in a video of all the videos I've ever watched.
Yeah,
I
well,
have to admit, I never have.
Yeah, look, we'll have to go live again, because there's another topic we could talk about where, you know, when cooking chicken, beef, whatever, you've got your different temperatures that you need to look out for doneness, and especially it gets tricky because with lamb and beef, for instance, people like to do it rare, medium, well done, and there's temperatures to aim for, and obviously there's that safe temperature that you need to start at before you consider those things, and it's different for each meat, for each protein.
That was in the back of my head before I started.
Oh, it's a huge topic.
Yes. So yes, we'll do this again sometime. And I think we'll end it here. And I would like to thank all my viewers to come in and check out these two great channels if you haven't done so yet. And I want to say, God gave you a great day. Now go do something great with it. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. Thanks,
Bye,
Leanne.
guys.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you. See you guys later.